Hi, I'm Scotty. I service, repair and restore vintage and antique mechanical clocks. Welcome to Scotties Clock World. Today's clock is a 1940 English oak case Garrard mantle clock. It's come in for service, so we'll take the movement out and have a look and see what needs to be done. First thing we'll do is we'll remove the hands. That little screw up. Fingernails down under the minute hand and gently lever it off. We'll try the same for the hour hand. It's a bit tight. I'll have to put a puller on that. This is the hand puller we'll use. Slide it down under the hand and very carefully start to lift it up. It's not quite wide enough. The puller's not quite wide enough for this hand. That screwed section there should press down on the top of the cannon arbor, which will then lift it up. But because it won't fit in, we'll very carefully lock over. And we'll take the movement out. Before we can remove the movement, we'll have to take the chapter ring off, because it appears that there's screws in under there that hold the movement in. So we'll remove the chapter ring and then we'll be able to access the movement. And lift up the chapter ring. And there you can see the 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. That hold the movement in. I'll start off by loosening those. Then I'll have to stand the clock case up on its feet so that the movement doesn't fall out the back. But we'll start off by loosening these up. Right, and fourth one. If I can put that on there, it might be more stable for it. And that's the movement removed from the case. That was pretty nerve-wracking, I can tell you. I haven't done one of those before. But anyway, seems to be pretty clean. But we'll have a look at that and see what we've got. It'll have to be oiled. It's a few years since it's been serviced apparently. So we'll oil that. And then we'll check it and see how the pivots and everything are. We'll check the pivots and the bushes and oil the movement and then see how it runs. I've set the movement up on a test stand, wound up the springs, connected a beat amplifier to the movement so it's easier to get it into the beat. Now, the movement is very clean. Everything seems to be in pretty good nick. So before we take it to pieces, we may not have to. We'll check it and see if it works first. So I've connected the minute hand. I'll start turning the hand. Half an hour. Going into warning. Turn it round to the hour. Going into warning, the chime. Strike has just gone into warning. Four o'clock. Well, that seems to be pretty good. I'll run through it just once more off camera to make sure that it is going properly. I'll run through it once more. We'll just check and make sure it's working correctly. Quarter of an hour. Half hour. Three-quarters of an hour. And we'll do the hour. Chime's gone in to warning. Strike's gone into warning. Five o'clock. Very good. Well, the movement seems to be working very well actually. It's very clean. It'll need to be oiled. It hasn't been serviced for about 3 or 4 years, but it's very, very clean. So there's no need to take it apart, put it through an ultrasonic and then reassemble it all again. Because it's very clean, it's working very smoothly. The pivots look very good. I checked them before when I was off camera, the pivots and bushes. So I'll just oil it, then we'll leave it up here on the test stand and then we'll check the time and run it for 3 or 4 days and make sure that the time is correct. I'll finish oiling the back of the movement, then we'll turn it over and oil the front. I've left the movement on the test stand because it's a bit tricky to get it set up again. Get all these done at the back. Then we'll be ready to put a timing device on. And check the accuracy of the movement. Certainly very clean. The pivots are very good. There's almost zero wear in them, but this little bit of oil will help them along. There's one I missed. Down there. Right, I'll turn the movement over, then we'll come back and do the rest of the oiling. Now we'll oil the front of the movement. Fly. There. This will keep the movement running for another 4 or 5 years before it needs to come in for service again. That in behind there on the winding arbor. There. There. Put a drop on each of the clicks. The hammer levers down there. And that's completed the oiling. We'll set the test stand up again and we'll set it with a clock. We'll start to check its time to see how accurate it is. I'll wind the clock on so we can establish what time is on the movement. O'clock. I've set our counter clock to 6 o'clock. Then we'll just let the movement run. We'll see how accurate it is. We can then adjust the time accordingly. So there it is, 6 o'clock, half minute past. Right, we'll let that run for the rest of the day and we'll check the time against it. The movement has been on test stand for 2 days now. You can see the time on our digital clock down here. It's the same as the time on the movement. I've made a couple of minor adjustments to the pendulum bob and it's running on time now and it's looking very, very good. All I've got to do now is put the movement back into the case and the job will be finished. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about antique and vintage clock repair, be sure to hit the subscribe button before watching these next 2 videos.